Good day, Kusekwamuri. In today's lesson, we want to look at quadratics. We are going to use this Cambridge question for practice. The question reads, the equation of a curve is xy equal to 12, and the equation of a line L is 2x plus y is equal to k, where k is a constant. Then the second part, find the set of values of k for which L does not intersect the curve. So let us dissect this question slowly but surely. So if we reread this question, the equation of a curve, so we are given the equation of a curve xy is equal to 12, and the equation of a line L, the equation of this line L 2x plus y is equal to k. Ndokudzwa k is a constant. And find the set of values of k for which L does not intersect the curve. Saka, this might be paradoxical in that we are going to apply the principle of simultaneous equations, even though question yedu yatiudza explicitly kuti the curve does not, the set of values of k for which the line L does not intersect the curve. Saka pano pakanzi does not, pari kuto indicator kuti tinofanirwa kushandisa principle yema simultaneous equations even though zvanzi does not intersect. The reason being, we use the discriminant to define a condition where a line is not intersecting a curve. And the discriminant in that case, b squared minus 4ac, will be less than 0. But kuti tisvike pa discriminant, tinofanirwa kunge taexpressa ma equations edu ari 2 tomareducer to a quadratic equation. Then we can extract ABC from them, then insert ABC into the discriminant and make that conclusion based on the discriminant. Saka what I can say here is, zvikangonzi intersect pachashanda ma simultaneous equations, hazvinei kuti zvanzi do not intersect, kana kuti zvanzi intersect at one point, kana kuti zvanzi intersects at two distinct points. Pese pangonzi intersect panoshanda ma simultaneous equations. So since there are simultaneous equations, what we ought to do panapa is to identify xy is equals to 12 as our equation 1, 2x plus y is equals to k as our equation 2. Then we find ways of dealing with this. What I would do pano, I would want to substitute y, kureva kuti ndenda kuti y is equal to 12 over x. I make y the subject of formula from the first equation. This is just a rebrand of equation number 1. Then ndoya panapa ndoti equation 1 into equation 2. What does this mean? This means pana y in equation 2, just substitute an 12 over x, so it becomes 2x plus 12 over x is equal to k. Okay, I hope you're following. Then to substitute pana y with 12 over x, we are going to use the method of clearing the fraction, where we multiply every term inside the equation with a common denominator, or a lowest common multiple if you want to be more technical. Saka to multiply everything na x, because to out x uyu na x uyu chekane. 2x times x becomes 2x squared plus ma x aya chekana, so it's plus 12 is equal to k times x, it's kx. Make this quadratic, 2x squared minus kx, kx apota kauya kuseri, plus 12 is equal to 0. We now have a quadratic expression, a quadratic equation, where a angari 2 because a ought to be the coefficient of x squared, b the minus k, please be sure not to forget this negative, and c the 12. Ndo pata swika so far in this question. Okay, tadaiso manje toya panapa tokona kuti where L, because tatodefinirwa L kuti ndiyo line, so where L does not intersect the curve b squared minus 4ac, which is the discriminant, in greater less than 0. And I bet you understand this. Then what is going to be b? Minus k squared minus 4. What is a? A in the 2. What is c? C in the 12. This is less than 0, like that. Okay, yada iso manje, let us simplify this. Minus k squared, the k squared, remember an even power, remove a negative. Minus 4 times 2 in the minus 8. What is 12 times minus 8? 12 times 8, 8 times 2, 16, 1 up, 8 times 1, 8 plus 1, 9. So it's actually k squared minus 96, like that. This is less than 0. So taswika panapa, what we ought to do, remember tirikuda ma critical values. Saka kuti tuwane ma critical values, we have to look at k squared minus 96. Fortunately or unfortunately, k squared minus 96 is not a difference of 2 squares, but we can make it 1. How do we make it 1? Saka chinoita kuti apply the difference of 2 squares, ndechekuti we actually have a difference here. It's k squared minus 96. And to make it a difference of 2 squares, tinoda iso, this becomes k squared minus the square root of 96, but squared, less than 0. So I don't know if you understand what is happening there, but if I use like common examples, I think you would. Let us say anga x squared minus 9. And it x squared minus 9, tisati apply a difference of 2 squares, notanga tainyora is x squared minus 3 squared. Ndizoka. Then tada isoto zotishi x minus 3x plus 3. But I want you to take note panaba. 9 uno itamnyora sa 3 squared. Shanga twakasiyana ere deno tata nyora takada iso x squared minus the square root of 9 squared. Knowing kuti the square root of 9 the 3. So that is what the difference of 2 squares communicates. So ataizo is simply applying the principle. Kuti k squared minus 96 becomes k squared minus the square root of 96. Yati sina, because 96 is not a perfect square, but that square root should be squared. So that, why are we doing this? Kuitira kuti tizoda iso, this becomes k minus the square root of 96, k plus the square root of 96, and this is less than 0. That is the only reason why we did that. Tirikuda ma critical values. So let me push my work here. Kurewa kuti ma critical values are triguda. Let us just write it down. Therefore, critical values they are equal to what? For critical values, we take this bracket, we equate it to 0. Saka bracket ra k minus root of 96, renova k is equal to root of 96. kureva kuti this minus root 96 becomes a positive. So the first critical value we have is the root of 96, and k plus root of 96 equal to 0 will be k is equals to minus root of 96, like that. Then we go back to the part where we had a quadratic equation, which is this part. Toona kuti value ya a ndeyani, remembering kuti kana a ari greater than 0 tine a minima kana kuti minimum turning point, andika minima is just shorthand. Kana a ari less than 0 tine a maximum turning point. Kana a are equal to 0 tine inonzi a point of inflation, POI, just shortened again, point of inflation. And the point of inflation, just to explain, would be something like this. Correct, it's both a maximum and minimum. Kusangana kwe maximum ne minimum turning point. So gadzira situation yakaita seizvo. Okay. Saka taona kuti 2 yedu is greater than 0, kureva kuti we have a minimum turning point. We are going to work with that. So tikada kuisa pasi our graph, we put a x-axis, my critical points edu minus root 96, then it's a minimum turning point, so it's going to be like this. This is what we have. Like that. Then touya panapa toona kuti our discriminant is less than 0. Saka less than 0 inoreva chi below the x-axis. So taking from what we did last time, above 0 inoreva above x-axis, then below 0 inoreva futi below x-axis. Saka the region which is going to give us the set of values of k inenge iri ino-ish. Kana iri below the x-axis, we shade inside the curve. From our last example, yanga iri above, and what did we do? Takasheda pamsoro panapa. Saka this is practically what we are expected to do. Kana iri above 0, munosheda kumsoro, but inenge iri bound by x-axis and the curve. Kana iri below 0, munosheda pasasi, but menge muri mukati me curve. This is just something to know. So far I cannot explain it. I've tried. I cannot explain it mathematically, just to know that. So since zviri zvakadai so much tasheda mukati muno, what is going to be our final answer? Our final answer here is going to be, therefore, set of values of k, set of values of k is given by k inenge iri greater than minus square root of 96, at the same time less than the square root of 96. This will be our final answer. If you can explain it mathematically, it will be of great help if you help me still, because this is just how it's done. It's like 1 plus 1. It's always 2. Of course, you can prove through proofs like induction and stuff that 1 plus 1 is equals to 2. But you just know that 1 plus 1 is 2. So that is how it's done, and that is how we provide a correct answer. So where you wanted help is actually kweso kwanga kurungodzokorodza zvamunonzwisisa. Maybe now yatangira panapa. Pamamfango kuapply a difference of two squares even when it's not obvious. Then mawana ma critical values enyu You then have to apply them. Moshandisa A kuona kuti zite maximum or minimum point. Then for both our cases it was a minimum point, but it can be a maximum point. The principle will be the same. Then Swadaro, it will be like this. But there's something I want to just preempt. Ko deno yanga iri a maximum point. B squared minus 4ac iri greater than 0. Another maximum point. B squared minus 4ac iri less than 0. Kana b squared minus 4ac iri greater than 0 tinosheda kumsoro kwa x, but kana tisheda kumsoro ikoko, in this case techisheda mukati mecurve muno. Kana discriminant less than 0 tinosheda kuzasi kwa x, but this time techisheda kuzasi kunoko. So the situation here is like tiri kudai so. We kana iri cup yakadai tichifangwa kusheda kumusoro tinosheda kunoko. Kana iri cup yakadai so tichifangwa kusheda kuzasi tinosheda mukati. Handisi kuona kuti muri kuonere sense yazvo, kana kuri kumusoro kana kuri kuzasi, kana kuri kuzasi. Ndiri kuona some pattern, I don't know if you can see it, but that is how it is done. Thank you and have a nice one.